Donald Trump, you never see him around strong, intelligent women, ever.
Mark Cuban. Okay, I had to take a breath before this because this is so profoundly offensive.
Poor Kamala Harris, her week began with her big, super duper closing argument speech on the Ellipse in Washington, D.C., with the White House behind her. It was supposed to be the final imagery for most voters who were waiting to make their decision come next Tuesday. And this was going to be the iconic moment that sealed the deal for her. And almost immediately, Joe Biden undermined her, I think purposely, with the garbage comment heard around the world. We're still talking about it today. We're still talking about the fact that the sitting president of the United States said that the supporters of Donald Trump were garbage. Well, that's not a great way to have your final week in American politics as you're running for president. So you got to feel a little sorry for Kamala Harris. But the good news is, she's done a lot of things to try to take people's minds off of Joe Biden's garbage comment. And she sent lots of surrogates out there to do lots of TV shows. So maybe they can change the subject. And well, I mean, I guess Mark Cuban succeeded in that yesterday, because suddenly only half the people are talking about Joe Biden calling Trump supporters garbage. The other half are talking about Mark Cuban and what he said on The View.
Donald Trump, you never see him around strong, intelligent women, ever. It's just that simple.
I don't know if that's better. I don't know if that's an improvement. Let's get out your scorecard, would you? We've got Obama calling Republicans people who bitterly cling to their Bibles and their guns. We've got Hillary Clinton calling you irredeemable deplorables. We've got Joe Biden calling you garbage. And now Mark Cuban on a show that specifically targets female viewers on The View says of the women Donald Trump surrounds himself with.
Donald Trump, you never see him around strong, intelligent women, ever. It's just that simple.
I think my favorite part is it's just that simple. Oh, it is. Quite simple, Mark. As you can well imagine, the reaction to Mark Cuban's statement on The View was, well, it was pretty ugly. Now, we're going to get to some of the pushback on Mark Cuban in a moment, but Mark, hours after he made this comment, saw that it was snowballing out of control. Mark Cuban decided that he was going to take to X, the social media platform owned by his arch nemesis, Elon Musk, to clarify his remarks. And by the way, it will never not amuse me that Mark Cuban hates Elon Musk, hates what Elon Musk has done with X, but spends pretty much 90% of his time obsessing about what's going on that very same Elon Musk-owned X platform. All right, so here's what he said. He said, let's clarify something. Oh, I do love it when apologies begin with, let me clarify. Let me just be clear, because you people are so stupid, you don't understand what I was really saying. You're such Neanderthals that your minds can't grasp the nuance of my intelligent utterances. So I better spend a little extra time to spell it out for you morons. So let me clarify. Okay, Mark, please spell it out for us. This is what I said during a conversation about why Nikki Haley was not active in his campaign. Quote, Donald Trump, you never see him around strong, intelligent women ever. It's just that simple. They're intimidating to him. He doesn't like to be challenged by them. And, you know, Nikki Haley will call him on his nonsense with reproductive rights and how he sees and treats and talks about women. I mean, he just can't have her around. It wouldn't work. I'm happy to clarify that, one, I know many strong, intelligent women voting for Trump, including in my extended family. I'm certainly not saying female voters aren't not smart, strong, or intelligent. Two, I know he's worked with strong, intelligent women like Elaine Chao, Kellyanne, Ivanka, and many others. I stand by my opinion that he does not like being challenged publicly. Okay, so that's a fascinating clarification that doesn't include any apology, any I'm sorry, any I regret it, any I take back what I said, or anything. No. He's doubling down. He's owning it. But number two is really interesting. I know he has worked with strong, intelligent women like Elaine Chao, Kellyanne, Ivanka, and many others. Okay, so I know he's worked with strong, intelligent women. Can I remind you again what he said?
Donald Trump, you never see him around strong, intelligent women.
So I know he's worked with strong and intelligent women, but you never see him around strong and intelligent women. And he stands by what he said. By the way, even better, The View, the panel, Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, Alyssa Farah, they didn't say anything. Sunny Host, and they were fine with this. They said nothing in real time to push back on this. It took us, conservative right of center commentators who saw it and then, sort of got this ball rolling yesterday to actually say, did you hear what Mark Cuban just said? The women on The View were absolutely fine. In fact, by their silence, I think they agree with him. And even more ironic, one of those women I just mentioned on The View, Alyssa Farah, she literally worked with Donald Trump during the entire first term. She was Mike Pence's press secretary and then eventually was part of the communications team at the Trump White House right up until the final week when she decided it was time to start a new career hating Donald Trump. But she was just fine taking that paycheck while working in the White House. She worked with Donald Trump, and she apparently agrees with this statement.
Donald Trump, you never see him around strong, intelligent women.
And Alyssa Farah on The View, I guess her internal monologue was, well, that's true because I was around him a lot. So, I guess we can't really argue with that. So his first clarification didn't quite stick, believe it or not. So Mark had to go back to X again with another clarification. When I said this during the interview, it didn't get out exactly the way I thought I did. So now he apologizes after this first clarification didn't quite stick. So I apologize to anyone who felt slighted or upset by my response. But hold on a second. Do you see what he did there? These are my favorite non-apology apologies. He's not saying, I was wrong. I shouldn't have said it. I hurt people. I'm sorry. See, that's how you apologize. I know this because I've had to do it myself. And I taught my kids how to apologize. There's a way to ask for forgiveness. Maybe it's the Catholic in me. We do it a lot. We say what we did wrong and we ask for forgiveness. It's a great habit to get into. Mark Cuban didn't do that here. Don't be fooled by the word apology or the apologize in this sentence. Okay, let's break down the sentence, shall we? I apologize to anyone who felt slighted or upset by my response. In other words, if you felt this thing, then I apologize. Most people didn't feel it because most people get it. Most people are smart enough to not have the reaction that you had. But if for some reason you had this reaction, then here, I'll throw you a bone. I apologize. Better now? It's still about the people and how they felt. You see, if you're really giving a heartfelt apology, whether somebody felt a certain way about what you did or not is irrelevant. You're apologizing because, objectively speaking, regardless of other people's reaction, what you did required an apology. But he doesn't see that. I apologize to anyone who felt slighted or upset by my response. I hope you can see that. I hope you pick up on that when people do these non-apology apologies. As I said, it wasn't about Trump voters, supporters, or employees, current or former. Really? It wasn't about Trump voters, supporters, or employees, current or former. Really?
Donald Trump, you never see him around strong, intelligent women.
Well, I don't know. I guess if you took that to somehow be interpreted as being about Trump voters, supporters, or employees, current or former, that's on you, apparently. It was never meant that way. How else are you supposed to take that? All right, here we go. I set myself up for the 6-second soundbite. No excuses. It sounds like a lot of excuses to me. Can't nail in every interview. My skin is thick enough. Oh, thank God his skin is thick enough. How about everyone you just insulted? I love it. Don't worry about me, everybody. I've got thick skin. Don't worry. I know you're all reaching out to me to make sure I'm okay for insulting every woman who has worked with, been around, or supported Donald Trump. But don't worry. I'm going to get through this. I'm Mark Cuban. I've got a thick skin. What a narcissistic hole. What bothers me, though, oh, good, we get to find out what bothers Mark Cuban now, because that's what we're really concerned about. Hey, Mark, what bothers you? Is that so many of the comments or media in support of or against me has some level of insult attached to it. Not just here, but everywhere. I'm not blaming anyone. We are where we are. Here's hoping that changes at least a little bit in a week. In the spirit of joy, I have to add that all the AI memes of me with the long hair crack me up. So there is a positive. He was upset because people were talking about how he's been transitioning and he looks more feminine than he ever has. And I think it was Caitlyn Jenner, you know, the artist formerly known as Bruce Jenner, who put out a picture of him with like long hair. But I do love that a transgender person, Caitlyn Jenner, I guess if that's what we're calling him now, is mocking Mark Cuban for transitioning. We've reached, I don't know where we are right now in this video game, but I'm not sure what big boss is around the corner. But this is a hell of a change in the RPG's narrative. I didn't know that the choices I made a year ago on this game are now taking me to this path. Dragon Age Veilguard is going to be something else when I start that game after this one I've been through. Oh, God. All right, so there it is. Mark Cuban is upset that so many of the comments have an insult attached to it. Has Mark Cuban been listening to Mark Cuban over the past couple of years and what he's said about Trump supporters? I don't think he has. That's fine. Let's wrap this up, though, with a direct reaction from a woman who worked directly with Donald Trump, Kayleigh McEnany. She now has a platform on Fox News, and she wasn't thrilled with this.
Donald Trump, you never see him around strong, intelligent women, ever. It's just that simple. They're intimidating to him. He doesn't like to be challenged by them.
Kayleigh. Mark Cuban. Okay, I had to take a breath before this because this is so profoundly offensive. I worked for Donald Trump. I consider myself a strong woman. I consider those around me strong women. Kellyanne Conway, Brooke Rollins, Ivanka Trump, Hope Hicks, Sarah Sanders. That's before we get to the women that Donald Trump elevated to very high levels, like Nikki Haley, who still supports him, like Amy Coney Barrett, who he put on the Supreme Court, or the women currently around him. Susie Wiles comes to mind, Caroline Leavitt. That is so offensive. And you know why? Because it's not just about the women who worked for him. He said the women around Donald Trump. This comes right after the Joe Biden garbage comment. Okay, the women around Donald Trump. What about the women who vote for Donald Trump? Are they weak? Are they dumb? Did Mark Cuban just insult any woman who supports Donald Trump? Because it's a little, very small step from that. And this is an official Harris campaign surrogate, Mark Cuban. That is misogynistic in my view. Get out of here, Mark Cuban. Kamala Harris, he's your surrogate. I want to hear from you. Do you agree the women are weak and ineffective? Whatever he said, get out of here. And I can't wait to hear from you, Kamala.
Yeah, well said, Kayleigh. And there's a little bit more from her. But, you know, Kayleigh was offended by this. She absolutely took it as a direct insult. But no, Kayleigh, I'm sorry. You missed the apology. You see here, it wasn't about Trump voters, supporters, or employees, current or former. So, Kayleigh, come on. That was the second apology that he put out on X. Didn't you read it? Why would you be offended knowing that it wasn't about Trump supporters or employees, current or former, right? I mean, how could you misinterpret this comment?
Donald Trump, you never see him around strong, intelligent women, ever.
Yeah. Why would you interpret that, Kayleigh, as being in some way about Trump voters, supporters, or employees, current or former? That's on you, babe. I'm sorry. I don't know what's wrong with you. You're just reading between the lines here. You're making a whole big deal out of nothing. So says Mark Cuban. That was Kayleigh McEnany yesterday, just about an hour after this happened. She had overnight to sleep on it and think about it, and they brought her back this morning on Fox and Friends. Let's see if she's, let cooler heads prevail. Maybe she's woke up with a different perspective.
So our next guest is one of them, Kayleigh McEnany. Look at her resume right there. Harvard Law grad, law school, a former White House press secretary, best-selling author, and now she's a Fox News host and a mother of two, and she joins us right now. So that's just a resume. Kayleigh, I think you're an accomplished woman. What did he mean by that?
That was very kind introduction there. I will say, I can't interpret his words. They were crazy. If he wants to test his theory that Donald Trump doesn't surround himself with intelligent and strong women, I'm happy to do that. If he wants to have a Lincoln Douglas style debate about the issues of our time, I can test his hypothesis and I can prove his hypothesis wrong. But it's not about me. It's not about the other amazing, accomplished women who are on the cover of the New York Post. It's about you. It's about the viewer. It's about the women I met at rallies, the mothers, the hard workers, the accomplished professionals, those who are working in all different types of industries, smart, innovative. That is what this is about. He insulted them, and there is no place for that in this country. And look, he gave an apology. I guess that's better than an apostrophe, which is what Joe Biden gave us. Yeah. But I have cause to question the apology when he doubled down on his statement. He said, ever. And then he said, that is the truth, or he made some kind of intuition there, a double down, an underscore of his statement. There wasn't this aha moment after he said it.
So real quickly, in the final stretch, I mean, you take these comments, you take the garbage comments, I mean, all of them together, this can't be good for the final stretch, right?
Not at all. Look, voters are used to this. If you support conservatism, if you support Donald Trump, if you are half of the country, you have been called deplorable, irredeemable, garbage, unintelligent. We can't find countries on a map if you watch CNN's Don Lemon. Like, that is what we have been told. People talk about get out the vote operation, and yes, that matters, going out knocking on doors. This might be the single biggest get out the vote operation. Thank you, Joe Biden and Mark Cuban.
There's another controversy in the White House, right? The stenographer's office, they're upset about what's happening there. These are career officials. They're not.
All right. We're going to move on from that, though, if we could. There's one other. She mentioned that Mark Cuban is an official surrogate for the Kamala Harris campaign. He was acting officially on behalf of the campaign when he said those remarks. And what's funny about this is about an hour after that, yesterday, Tommy Viator, who actually works on the Harris campaign, former Obama staffer, does he? You know what? He might not work on the campaign, but he's an unofficial advisor, former staffer for the Obama presidency. He says, "Hey, Harris campaign surrogates, please stay on message. No history lessons, no jokes. Let's just run through the tape here, gang." Here comes Mark Cuban saying, "Yeah, I got you, boss." Leroy Jenkins. The good news is the Harris campaign has rewarded Mark Cuban now. Oh, yeah, they loved what he did on The View. They're actually giving him promotion. They're putting him in charge on one of these final groups here. You know how we've got white guys for Kamala. We've got black women for Kamala. We got indigenous, transgender, disabled people for Kamala. We got all these different groups. And now Mark Cuban's got a group of his own. I mean, that's going to be a really big group he's in charge of, my estimation. Paula Scanlon, by the way, red-pilled athlete, former teammate of that dude up at Penn University who swims with women, even though he's a dude. Paula Scanlon, a champion for women's sports. She came up with this meme, and I want to give her full credit for it because that is beautiful. Dude, you know, the meetings must be a blast for cucks for Kamala, right? I mean, nothing but soy. Every type of use of soy is on the buffet table when you walk in. You got your soy salad, you got your fried soy, you got your soy desserts, you got your soy-based butter, there is a whole lot of estrogen in that room. Keep up the great work. I mean, honestly, you guys are doing great over there at the Kamala campaign. I can't wait for the next final argument she's going to try to make and see how that one gets upstaged.